Hello and welcome to anyone who stumbled across this video. My name is ShyGamerMaile. I'm a Let's Player here on YouTube. Normally I don't do these kinds of videos, these kind of sit down and let's talk about what we think about video games. But I wanted to make an exception because I just have so many different thoughts about Kingdom Hearts 3, and I kind of wanted to put them out there in the open. Especially because Kingdom Hearts is a series that's so near and dear to my heart. I started playing the titles back on PlayStation 2, and I've kept up with the story. I haven't played all the games necessarily, but I have kept up with the story and the lore, and I have a general idea of how each game plays. So I finished my first playthrough of Kingdom Hearts 3 about a week after it released, and that's originally when I wanted to film this video, when my thoughts were kind of raw, and I just had a lot of feelings about the ending of the game. But the truth is, I knew that if I recorded a video, then I don't think I would have been giving Kingdom Hearts 3 a fair shake, because some of my concerns might have been alleviated upon a playthrough on a harder difficulty, and I wasn't necessarily sure about some of my opinions on certain aspects of the game yet. So now that I've done a second playthrough and I've really sat and thought about the things that I want to say about Kingdom Hearts 3, I think I'm in a better place to talk about the game and what it does well and what it does not so well. So this isn't any kind of, formal review video. I'm not going to give a score or anything like that. I just wanted to kind of talk about the things that I think this game does well and things that I didn't like so much. So I'm going to try not to talk about too much about any spoilers or anything like that, but for safety reasons, I'm going to say if you haven't completed the game, then you should probably leave. So thanks for clicking on the video, and I hope you come back when you have finished the game. But for now, for your sake, it would probably be better if you just left until you finished, okay? Thank you so much. So, let's talk about Kingdom Hearts 3. The first thing I really want to do is just talk about what Kingdom Hearts 3 does right, because there are a lot of things that this game gets absolutely perfect, like just thumbs up Square Enix. So the first thing that should be no surprise to anyone are the graphics. The game's graphics are absolutely gorgeous. Like, it blows my mind how beautiful things are. I never doubted that Square Enix would be able to make beautiful games, since back on the PlayStation 2, the original Kingdom Hearts was beautiful, Kingdom Hearts 2 was beautiful, Final Fantasy X was beautiful, and X-2 was just equally beautiful. So Square's just been making mind-blowingly beautiful games since they started making games, All the Final Fantasies and all the Kingdom Hearts games have such strong visual direction. So I never thought that Kingdom Hearts 3 wouldn't be beautiful, but just how beautiful it looks is just incredible to me. Especially the fact that some of these worlds are Pixar worlds, and back when they came out, I thought those were like mind-blowingly beautiful, like Toy Story and Monsters, Inc. are gorgeous movies, and they still stand the test of time today. So to see that Kingdom Hearts 3 can make like a video game can have visuals that are that strong, and in some cases I think that Kingdom Hearts 3's graphics go above and beyond the Pixar films and the Disney films that they're based on. That kind of blows my mind. The best example of graphics in this game is the Caribbean. The instant this game, that world, opened up, I was like, oh, this is where they spent the entire budget, because the water graphics just look insane. The fact that you can see the weathering on the ship wood, you can see smudges of soot across characters' faces, and the detailing on leather and on the coats and the wear and tear on like a bunch of weapons and on clothing. It's just, it blew my mind. It was such a beautiful approach to realism, especially after Kingdom Hearts 2's rendition of the Caribbean. I didn't like the Caribbean in Kingdom Hearts 2 because Sora stuck out like a sore thumb in the Caribbean amongst all the realistic characters. The same thing with Space Paranoids. I didn't like the visual style in either of those games in Kingdom Hearts 2. But in Kingdom Hearts 3, Sora and Jack Sparrow and everyone are rendered so well that it just kind of works. It's very strange to me. But Kingdom Hearts 3, fabulous graphics, and I actually think it even stands out among the PlayStation 4's gigantic library. It's one of the most gorgeous PS4 games, and that's quite impressive. So, good job, Kingdom Hearts 3, on your graphics. The next thing that I'd like to talk about is the insanely fun combat system. So, combat in Kingdom Hearts 3 is just so fun. Magic and shot locks can link into one another and can even link into regular combos. Magic is actually usable now, which I really love. In Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, magic was more of a point and shoot system. You sort of pointed the Keyblade in the general direction of the enemy and pressed a button, and then bursts of fire or thunder or ice would be aimed at the enemy, and that was usually the end of the story. But with this new magic system, magic interacts with you and the enemy more. So thunder can paralyze, fire can burn and stagger enemies, ice can freeze and even form sort of lines that you can skate across to combat faraway enemies. There's just so many different combo possibilities that make it so fun and rewarding to experiment around in when you play. You just want to keep going and seeing how many different combos or how many different ways you could use so many different abilities. It's so much fun. The only thing that I would complain about with the combat system is that sometimes magic can be a little overpowered, generally with the upgraded spells. Generally in Kingdom Hearts games, there are 3 levels of magic. There's Water, Watera, and Water-Ga, but in this new system, there's a 4th level of magic called Grand Magic, and when it's fully upgraded, it goes into Water-Za, and different spells like that. And those spells have huge areas of effect and can defeat whole crowds of enemies at once. So that can make combat a little too easy, and we're going to talk more about that later. But for now, I just wanted to say this is probably the combat system that I've had the most fun with, and I can't wait to do more run-throughs of the game with like Sora with like a magic build or a heavier Guardians type Sora or something like that. There's just so many things that you can do with this battle system, and it gives the game so much replayability. Pixar Worlds are an absolute joy to play in Kingdom Hearts 3. The stories are so cohesive, and Sora and his companions blend seamlessly into the world's narrative, and I can really buy their interactions with Pixar characters. I heard that Pixar worked directly with Square in making the stories in these worlds, and that these are actually canon stories that fit into the Pixar universe. And you can tell that when the Pixar team received the direction to kind of blend these characters in, they didn't really question it. They just said, okay, we're going to take these characters from this video game franchise and we're going to commit to making them fit into the Pixar universe. And everything is just so genuine and heartfelt. I enjoyed every single minute I spent in Pixar Worlds. My particular favorite world was probably San Francisco. Loved Sora's interaction with Hero and Baymax and the rest of the Big Hero 6 team, and I had such a fun time playing the final boss in that world, Dark Baymax, and seeing Hero reunited with the original Baymax and just having his little family reformed again. I felt like I actually helped Hero, which is so great. I love when I get this feeling that I've contributed something to the world and that I actually formed a relationship with characters in the world. And in that case, in Monstropolis and in Toy Box and in San Francisco, I felt like there was a genuine connection between the characters and Sora. Also, can I give a shout out to that wonderful moment in Monstropolis where Sully grabs Vanitas and like chucks him through a door, then takes that door and chucks it through a door, then takes that door and chucks it through a door, and so on and so forth until he like shreds the final door and is like super satisfied at the ending. That moment made me laugh out loud. It was so Pixar. I absolutely loved it. It was a joy to see, and sometimes I like to go back and replay that scene just because it gives me so many laughs. Great job, Pixar and Kingdom Hearts. The amount of work that went into the Gummi system in Kingdom Hearts 3, how thorough it is, how many options there are, it's truly staggering. I've watched people make so many interesting and awesome custom ships, and I've also seen full-scale replicas of ships from Star Wars, like X-Wings and the Millennium Falcon from Star Wars, and replicas of video game ships like the R-Wing from Star Fox. It really makes me kind of jealous that I haven't like ventured beyond the cookie cutter high wind ship, you know, just the default ship that you get at the beginning of the game. I haven't ventured beyond blueprints yet, so seeing all these people do such inventive things with the Gummi ship system blows my mind. It's totally insane. And I just also want to say that the open world Gummi ship segments are really, really cool. I personally enjoy the Kingdom Hearts 2 Gummi ship sections more, simply because I feel like they're more action-packed, but the amount of distance that you have to travel between worlds, you really get this idea of an expansive world, and the fact that the distance between the worlds is so large. Back on the PlayStation 2, consoles didn't have the power to illustrate the distance between the individual worlds in Kingdom Hearts, but now on the PlayStation 4, we finally have that power, and you really see how isolated every world is from one another. And it sells the idea that Kingdom Hearts 3 is a big new adventure. So kudos to the Gummi ship system. Again, not the biggest fan of Gummi ship building or customization or anything like that, but it really stood out to me in this game. So good job, Square Enix. Kingdom Hearts 3 is extremely easy. During my first run-through of the game on standard mode, I breezed through and had little trouble even in the Keyblade Graveyard and Skull ad Kylum against Master Xehanort, I really wanted more of a challenge, especially since Kingdom Hearts games usually ramp up in difficulty toward the end of the game. They start off very easy and player friendly, and then as you learn more and more about how to use the combat system, they add more and more difficulty on. I wanted more of that. So after finishing standard mode, I wanted to make this video, but I realized that my concerns might be alleviated by playing through Proud mode, so I started up a Proud playthrough in order to get a better handle on the game and see if the difficulty concerns would be resolved, and the end result was mostly the same. Proud mode gave me a couple challenges toward the end of the game, namely the Master Xehanort fight, but other than that, I had little trouble making my way through. It was pretty much the same as standard mode. Now, I've played Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 on standard on PlayStation 2, as well as the final mix versions on PlayStation 4, and I gotta say, vanilla Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 on standard were both more of a challenge than Kingdom Hearts 3 on Proud difficulty. And I think that means one of two things needs to happen. One, Kingdom Hearts 3 needs to be rebalanced so that things are a little more difficult, and this will in turn help increase replayability for current and future players who are looking for more of a challenge. Or two, DLC, hopefully free DLC, needs to be added to include a critical mode that makes things significantly more challenging. In its current state, after maybe one more playthrough, I'll probably have no desire to go back to Kingdom Hearts 3, and that's kind of unusual because Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 are constant replay games for me. They're so much fun simply because they're still kind of difficult for me to this day, but Kingdom Hearts 3 is not. So if I want the Kingdom Hearts 3 experience again, I'll probably just pop the disc into my PS4 and play the cutscenes. I need a little bit more of a challenge to sink my teeth into. Hopefully sometime in the future Square Enix will add a rebalance or DLC of some kind, because I'll be waiting with bated breath. In the first half of this video, I praised how well Pixar incorporated Sora and his friends into the overall Pixar universe. The narratives in the Pixar Worlds were just such a joy to play through. I felt like I had formed genuine bonds with the characters in Toy Box, San Francisco, and Monstropolis. They were just such unforgettable experiences. Now, the regular Disney worlds are the exact opposite of the Pixar worlds. The plot in these Disney worlds is just so confused and jumbled, especially in the Caribbean and in Arendelle, and especially sometimes in the Kingdom of Corona. If you haven't seen these movies before, then you're gonna get quite lost, because key moments of the plot and character dynamics in character development are just missing because they needed to shorten down the experiences in these worlds so that the game wouldn't drag on too long. So if you haven't seen Pirates of the Caribbean before, the second or third movie, then you're going to be feeling very confused in Pirates of the Caribbean world. In fact, the other day I saw a video where a YouTuber who had never seen any of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies beyond Curse of the Black Pearl, he was talking about his experience playing through the Caribbean, which is based on the third Pirates of the Caribbean movie at World's End. He said he was just so utterly confused, and I felt so bad for him. So that was the first problem with narratives. The plot was diced up and then redistributed in an incoherent way, so plot threads didn't match up. The second thing that was wrong with these Disney worlds were that rather than being incorporated into the plot, Sora, Donald, and Goofy are just kind of standbys or onlookers to the plot. So there's this really awkward moment in Arendelle where Sora and his friends are going after Elsa, and suddenly it goes from like a trek up a mountain, it turns into the literal scene by scene reenactment of Let It Go. And Elsa's having her grand moment where she's building up her ice palace and everything, and Sora is literally just witnessing it. And Sora, afterwards, this made me laugh so hard. Sora is literally the player. He says, "Wow, I don't know what that was, but wow." That's exactly how I felt in that moment. It's so funny. Sora said exactly what I was thinking. And sometimes this trend started in Kingdom Hearts 2, where Sora was just kind of a witness to the Disney plot happening, and then Organization 13 characters would become villains in the world, and then Sora would get involved towards the end of the plot. So it was kind of okay in the end. It wasn't great. It wasn't like in Kingdom Hearts 1 where the villains were like aware of the grand plan and they were actively working against Sora in the Disney worlds, but it was serviceable, you know. In this game, it was like the total opposite. The Disney worlds just felt like an advertisement for the movies. You were literally just watching the movies. Less coherent and less well-handled versions of these Disney movies. And I would have been okay with that if it had been like in Kingdom Hearts 2 and they had added elements of the main story back into the game. Like Larxene in the world of Frozen was trying to, I don't know, get Elsa to give into darkness, but Larxene herself has no direct interactions with Elsa, so her showing up there for like a split second, taunting Sora, and then disappearing. This happens in a lot of the Disney worlds, or in a lot of the worlds in general. Organization 13 appears, taunts Sora, then they go away. And that formula gets a little tired after a while. It makes Disney worlds kind of seem inconsequential. So in the future, I hope that Disney will embrace working with the Kingdom Hearts team in the same way that Pixar did, and the creators for the movies will work together hand in hand with the Kingdom Hearts producers and form a story that is specially crafted for the game. It doesn't need to be canon like the Pixar worlds, but it would be nice for Sora and his friends to get genuine interactions with the characters. The last negative I wanted to talk about was plot pacing. Kingdom Hearts plot pacing is really off. The game starts off well. It sets up the mission that Sora, Donald, and Goofy must achieve by game's end, and it does a fantastic job of introducing the player to the game's mechanics. I love Olympus as a starting world because it's a world that we've had several times in the franchise already. Sora, Donald, and Goofy already have a great bond established with Herc, Meg, Phil, and all the other characters in this world, so they interact really believably. And this world is designed in such a way that it introduces the characters very well to maneuverability up walls, the shot locks, the uses of magic, combos and other aspects of gameplay. It's just a really well-designed level. It also does a great job of introducing the overall, plot of the Keyblade world and the real Organization 13, as well as this strange little side plot about Maleficent and Pete going after this box that was hinted about in Kingdom Hearts back cover. The 1 hour movie about the first Keyblade War and the Master of Masters. But yeah, Olympus is just a great opening level. I love the Twilight Town section afterwards, where we're introduced to old characters and Sora sent to Yen Sid, and everyone gains their purpose for the game. So Sora and his friends need to go train in various worlds in order to gain the power of waking, to wake up Ventus, and along the way, Sora kind of takes it upon himself to try to find a solution for Roxas to exist separately from him so that he can be reunited with his friends. Riku and King Mickey decide to go off and look for Aqua in the realm of darkness. Kairi and Lee go off to train with Merlin so that hopefully by the time the Keyblade War comes around at the game's end, Kairi and Lee will be able to assist Sora, Riku, and all of the others in taking on the organization and Master Xehanort. And that was one of my favorite parts of the setup, this idea that Kairi would finally get to fight alongside Riku and Sora after standing by for so long and kind of being the damsel in distress. I've loved this idea since it was hinted at Kingdom Hearts 2 when she got her Keyblade and she dove right into the fray, and even though she wasn't able to do a lot, Kairi still wanted to help. So the idea that she was finally getting out of this helpless sort of damsel in distress situation and she'd finally be able to fight alongside her friends, I was so into that, and I was kind of hoping that we would be able to play as Kairi later on in the game, because you get to play as Riku at the beginning of the game, and I thought this was introducing the idea of us getting to play as various Keyblade wielders, a prospect that I was so excited for. So, great job on the opening. But after that opening, the main plot kind of takes a break, and the Disney narrative completely takes over. The Disney worlds are just kind of there, in a way. Sora goes through each of these worlds, and even though he encounters the organization, they don't do anything to, hint at their overall plans other than, oh, we've got our 13th member, ooh, walk in, disappear. Nothing else is advanced. You don't save Aqua, Terra, or Ven. You don't save Naminé or anyone else. Play through all the worlds. You occasionally check in with Hollow Bastion and talk about various aspects of Sora's heart or his bonds with other characters and things like that. But it doesn't really advance that far. And there's a very happy and jovial feeling about this. There's no underlying sense of dread about the Keyblade War that's looming closer and closer. This was a thing that sort of bothered me because in Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, there was this, even despite the fact that the games had very happy tones, as the game's end drew closer and closer, you could feel the final confrontation building and building and building until the final climax fights against both Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, and Xemnas. But Kingdom Hearts 3 doesn't really have that. After the final world, though, all of a sudden, the main plot kind of marches back in and grabs you and doesn't let you go. So, after the last Disney World, you're immediately thrown back into the plot. It's time to save Aqua. Then it's time to save Ven. Then it's time to go to the Keyblade Graveyard. Then it's time to save all of these characters. And none of these characters like Aqua or Ventus or Terra, who we've been waiting for so long to save, who we're invested in. These character dynamics that we've wanted to see, like Sora and Aqua interacting with one another, Aqua and Ventus and Terra reuniting, Sora talking to Ventus after spending so much time together. You don't get any of these character interactions or dynamics. You kind of just see them, acknowledge that they're saved, and then you move on. And that's a real shame. It doesn't, this breakneck pace doesn't leave much room for character interaction or development. And that kind of breaks my heart because I love some of these characters so much. I love Aqua, I love her overall arc and story, and I thought I would finally get to see her interact with Sora a bit more and kind of take on a mentor role for him. I thought I would see Roxas and Xion kind of interact a bit more after they reunited with one another. And to not see those things, just to get the moment when they get back together, but not seeing any more than that, was just such a hard pill to swallow, you know? And, you know, like I said, the first half of this game has a very clear, jovial, happy tone, and then the last fourth of the game, like 3/4 is happy and merry and everything, and then the last fourth has a very clear, dark, gritty, very apocalyptic tone. The transition would have been better, I feel, if they had spread these character rescues throughout the game, so that at the very beginning you save Aqua, and she gets time to rest before she rescues Ventus at Castle Oblivion, so that she's fully powered and she can have this final epic showdown with Vanitas. If these character rescues had been spread throughout the game, and then you'd had a hub where you could like interact with Aqua or Ventus, or see like small character interactions, kind of like, I don't know, character supports in Fire Emblem or something akin to that. If you had had that opportunity, I feel like I would have bought the character interactions a lot more. This strange pacing where everything is loaded towards the end, everything that's about the original plot is loaded towards the end, gives me like this huge narrative whiplash. And it's a real shame because I feel if they had just distributed everything, it would have made presentation so much better. So I'm kind of mourning the loss of this, of what Kingdom Hearts 3 could have been if the pacing had been restructured. Kingdom Hearts 3 is a good game that has a lot of unrealized potential, and I think that's the thing that frustrates me the most about this situation, is there were moments when I was playing Kingdom Hearts 3 that I thought to myself, if they had just tweaked this a little bit, then this would have made this moment go from okay or frustrating to great or fun. Like if they'd rebalanced the game so that things were a little bit more difficult, or characters that were only there for a split second and then disappeared had been rewritten to have more character interactions or more character dynamics. If characters that were underutilized were actually written to their full narrative potential, if rescues and other things had been spread across the main game instead of being stacked on at the very end, Kingdom Hearts 3 could have gone from a good game to a great game. Now that doesn't mean that Kingdom Hearts 3 is a bad game. It's not a bad game at all, it's a good game, and it's actually my third favorite title in the series, probably behind 1 and 2, but it kind of wars with Birth by Sleep at this point for me. Over time, it'll probably settle into the third or fourth slot for sure, but for right now, it's a hard third. Thank you to everyone who dropped by to watch the video. I'm really honored that you decided to listen to my opinion about Kingdom Hearts 3, and I'd be really interested in hearing your thoughts about the game as well. If you feel like sharing, please leave your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you have any questions about anything in this video or anything else, please leave them down below as well. I'd be happy to answer them to the best of my ability. Also, if you like Let's Plays, I do play a ton of RPGs and other types of games, mainly Nintendo and some Sony thrown in. So if you'd like to hear from me again in the future, punch that subscribe button and you should be able to get all of the updates from my channel. And once again, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you guys have a great day or night wherever you are and a fantastic rest of your week, and that you keep having fun while gaming. This is ShyGamerMaile signing out. Thanks so much, guys. Take care.